Hello and welcome. The cycle of life applies everywhere we look. For instance, our cars get recycled and ships end their working lives and are cut up and recycled. What then is in store for aircraft that reach the end of their productive lives? I know of at least 22 so-called aircraft boneyards where aircraft are stored, cannibalised for parts, restored for resale, or salvaged for scrap. Of those 22 yards, 14 are in the United States. Boneyards are generally located in deserts because the dry conditions reduce corrosion and the hard ground does not need to be paved. The term boneyard does not describe the temporary large congregations of passenger aircraft parked up due to the COVID-related downturn in international air travel. As air travel resumes, these aircraft will return to service. Instead, we are looking at aircraft at the end of their productive lives. Aircraft recycling is big business. Each year, 400 to 450 aircraft are scrapped and disassembled globally for a $2 billion market for aircraft parts. 12,500 aircraft reached the end of life in the 20 years after 2009. Retirements peaked at more than 700 in 2013 and declined to about 500 in 2016. Strong demand and relatively low fuel prices keep older airlines flying. In 2018, airliner retirement slowed to 1.75% of the fleet from the 3.5% peak in 2013. At the end of January 2019, there were 1,186 parked aircraft, 5.5% of the fleet, down from 6.7% a year before, and well below the past 20-year average. Aircraft lessors own 16% of the parked fleet, up from 9% a decade before. Most of the parked fleet is unlikely to fly again. The parked fleet is 31% wide-body and 69% narrow-body. The parked aircraft include 250 Boeing 737 Classics, 158 McDonnell Douglas MD-80s, 64 Boeing 757s, and 66 Airbus A340s. The company lessor Avalon count 2,100 aircraft in storage in 2017, of which 1,000 shouldn't fly again. Half are parked up for more than 3 years, and the other half is older than 25 years. A parked aircraft may return to service if it is younger than 15 years of age. Aircraft parked over 3 years have a 50% chance of flying again, dropping to 20% for aircraft stored over 5 years. With owners accepting their asset value, this 2,100 should remain constant as the global jet transport fleet doubles to 51,800 over the next 20 years, with 43,000 new deliveries and 16,000 retirements projected through to 2037. Airliners are typically operated for 20 to 30 years. Corrosion, metal fatigue and low availability of new spare parts are problems encountered in greater frequency the older a machine becomes. Improvements in fuel efficiency and reduction in maintenance costs of newer machines reduce the economic viability of the operation of older airlines. Well, that makes sense. The scrapping process takes 6 weeks after arrival, though it might take a year or two to maximise the part harvesting. It begins with the removal of the explosive escape equipment and toxic de-icing fluid. Aircraft are washed to remove corroding salt, drained of fuel, and lubricated with a light viscous oil. Air ducts are sealed and an easily removable protective coat of paint may be applied. Some planes are kept in working order as reserves, and a few are involved in firefighting and aerospace training schemes or in safety tests. Most are used as a source of spare parts and scrapped. Engines, the undercarriage and instruments have the greatest value. The seats are worth from $450 to $5,000 depending on wear. Who knew? The landing gear can be sold for millions of dollars, although all parts need a certificate of airworthiness to be reused. Cables, batteries and other electronic waste are fed into the conventional recycling chains. Plastic interior components are not recyclable as they contain flame retardant chemicals. The remaining shell is cut into pieces and broken down by an industrial shredder so that the aluminium can be melted down. The scrap metal is ground up, mechanically sorted by density and magnetism, then sold to the trade. A future challenge for disposal is the construction of aircraft which use composite materials such as the glass laminate aluminium reinforced epoxy in the Airbus A380. About 90% of a metal aircraft can be recycled. Scrap aluminium is worth up to $1,500 per tonne, which is cheaper than the $2,680 per tonne for new ingots. Although I have been talking about what happens to retired commercial aircraft, you wouldn't be surprised to learn that the situation is true for military aircraft as well. I have visited the Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Arizona, and I can tell you that the 4,400 mostly military retired aircraft there are a sight to behold. Thank you for watching. Your encouragement by liking, subscribing and sharing is appreciated. Thank you.